Hello and welcome. Today, it's about women's volleyball only in tonight's episode. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
And I'm Neil Flores. The PVL On Tour Finals is on the horizon, but first we'll talk about what's ahead with our Alas women's team. This is starting lineup.
JD!
Puts the long toss and hits the dagger
Gold medalist at the Olympic champion from Europe.
Three medals and a whole lot of experiences. Our Alas women's team definitely had a great national team period. But job's not finished yet, and here to talk about their dream inclusions for the SEA Games, which is like, what, 4 months away. Our friends, Ayel, Estrañero, and the superstar, Chery Lavitoria is with us. You're not escaping me.
Oh my God.
Okay. Wait, okay, so general impressions muna. Short statement, just to recap the last, or the V.League.
I mean, for Alas Pilipinas women's, just consistency, I guess. Has been one of the most important factor when it comes to their success. Consistency to the system, consistency to the lineup, and just consistency in terms of them building the chemistry and the execution. I mean, we've seen them playing better against the powerhouse, Thailand and Vietnam, and that is just a proof of the consistency they've worked on in the past months.
Neil, speaking of consistency and speaking of this team and the preparations for the SEA Game, I'm sure meron mga non-negotiables. Yan yung mag-uusapan natin. Okay, Jamie, let's talk about the first one, and rightfully so. Gia de Guzman, I guess. Tama ba yung hula ko?
Number one pick for sure, Gia. I mean, she's really the center of this team. She has unleashed the potential of the spikers on the team. Not only does she provide stability with the sets, but also being that leader for the younger lineup, for the younger girls along with Dawn. And she posted on her social media, build a team so strong that no one can really point out the leader, and that is what she's doing. There are players that score double digits, but there's not one player that everyone focuses on, and that's a good sign for Alas.
And based on the other players also, Gia is like the glue that keeps
Yes.
everybody together. But aside from Gia, meron pa kayong mga non-negotiables. Of course, you can't forget about heaven-sent Angel Canino. Ayel, why did you put her on the list?
I mean, Angel Canino, it's already a given, especially with everything she has proven in the international scene. I mean, just like Gia, who has been with the national team for quite some time. Yun yung gusto natin, di ba? Players staying the national team, growing with the national team. I think Angel Canino is just the same with Gia de Guzman. The national team experience did not start in the senior level. She has that experience from the junior level. And yun yung gusto nating mangyari. We want players having that international exposure in the junior level and transition into the senior level. And she is a proof that that is the kind of system that we want in the national team. Early on her senior career with the national team, ang dami na agad awards, outside hitter, opposite hitter, that is a proof of her flexibility as an attacker as well. She can play multiple positions. She is an all-around player. She is a steady player. This, hindi lang yung skills, but also the mental toughness is there. And she's just, what, 22?
Yeah, most awards. And Neil, you and I always say, she also has like the perfect body for international
Yes,
play.
yes.
Right? Yung sakto yung skill set and the body. Now, we all know Dawn Makandili Katindig, one of our heralded and awarded liberos. Pero, kumbaga, kailangan natin ng kasama, kailangan natin ng katulong. And now we found one. Justin Hazareno.
I mean, of course, she got her award, Best Libero. She provides so much stability for Gia, for Mars Alba, whoever's setting. And when it comes to counterattack, the free ball, it's very controlled. The rallies are longer because she is there. Not, of course, neglecting the talent of the other diggers and Dawn as well, but having Justine there, the setters are more relaxed. She's more relied on, especially in the digging. There was one rally where 3 of the digs went to her in a row, and I was like, it's not even near the net. It's just up. It doesn't have to be perfect. And she's also confident when she plays, and it helps with the back row also.
And Dawn used to do that. It's just that she gets overloaded.
Yes.
she was surprised that she won that award. Pero tayo, hindi naman tayo nagulat.
And I think just to add to that, how big that award was, she was playing against Pianot Panoy, who has been playing internationally with Thailand for a long time. And Yun Dang also won Best Libero Awards for Vietnam. So, I mean, take a look at that matchup. But it was Justin Hazareno who won that Best Libero Award. That's how big that award is for Justin.
Well, since we already talked about the libero, when we think of outside hitters, pag sa international level, kailangan balanced yung offense and defense. And one player is a perfect example of that, and that is Bella Belen.
I think Bella Belen is one very passionate and selfless player because when she is in the back row, she will do everything to keep that ball alive. So, di ba, if it's an outside hitter, it has to be an all-around player, especially now in the international scene. And in terms of offense also, she has been very consistent. So I think to have that kind of outside hitter is very important for the national team.
And the luxury that she will have, hopefully for a long time, is Eliza Solomon by her side.
Of course.
Of course, there are some injury issues. She has history of that, and hopefully she can get over that. But wow, she has to be in the team, right? Non-negotiable, correct?
Well, in terms of just like her strength and length, she has the height to block. She has the strength to attack. And if you notice from her attacks, even during her college days, it's those long ball attacks, which are actually difficult to defend. It's above the block. It's in the corner pockets. And also sometimes her tips are very deceiving as well. And I mean, just the players in Alas, a lot of consistency, like you mentioned at the start. And also they're just building something great. Of course, they all started, individually. When you look at the lineup, the talent is there. But when you mesh them together, they're really creating something magical for Alas.
Right, Neil, this is a good problem for us.
Yes.
We have a pool. We're so not used to in many years back na may mga pool na pwede tayong mix and match.
And these are just 5 players on your list. But I'm sure itong 5, malakas ko to, will be included in the roster for the SEA Games. Well, we shift over to the PVL when we return, so stay tuned. You're watching Starting Lineup. Welcome back to Starting Lineup. We have reached the final stop of this PVL on tour as it culminates in a set of do-or-die games this Sunday. Here to talk about our bronze matchup, still with us, are volleyball analysts Jamie Lavitoria and Ayel Estrañero. Ladies, welcome back. We have to talk about Creamline first and their build-up to that bronze medal match. They had a rocky eliminations with a 3-2 record, and then they swept Farm Fresh, but they lost against PLDT in 5 crucial sets. Jamie, what are your thoughts on the campaign of Creamline so far?
Well, they are losing key players in terms of firepower, Tots Carlos, Bea, and of course Bernadette Pons. And in that game against PLDT, They had 12 errors in set number 1. The score, I believe, is 25-27. When it came to set number 4, that's when you felt the lack of Bernadette Pons, not in terms of attacking, but also defending in the back. When Savvy Davison is in the front row, she will definitely just either go cross or down the line. She rarely went for a tip against Creamline. The defenders were a bit late, and in terms of reception as well, there were some receives that were kind of near the net, and from Kyle's point of view, it looked like it was going on the other side. That happened in the 5th set. And also in terms of the reception of Kyla Atienza, there were 3 a little bit shaky, which forced Kyle Negrito to go for a bump set, and the defense was already there stabilized.
Yeah. In general, this has been a strange tournament for a team like Creamline.
For Creamline.
Yeah.
I think Creamline, it's a bit strange because they also thrive in their substitutions. Whenever one player is not working, they have a player instantly, contributing. And I think that's what Jamie was also trying to point out. You don't have Tots Carlos for a double sub. You don't have Bernadette Pons when one outside hitter is not working, whether it's in attacking or in defense. You don't have BDL who has that commanding presence as a middle who is a threat. I mean, Sheena Turing has been spectacular, but BDL is still different. Alam mong babantayan siya ng middles, and to have a younger middle there in Sheena Turing, she's not much of a threat like BDL.
Bonus na yan
bonus,
yes.
So yun yung mga kulang that if you really take a look at it, that really affects the entire system of Creamline.
And she's also new to the team, so they really
She gets
need
a pass.
time
Yeah, you
para
can expect.
ma-incorporate pa siya
Yes.
dun sa solid system na gusto nila.
Actually, Neil, sa akin nga, for what the kind of time that she's had with the team, nagulat na nga ako eh.
Yeah, pwede na yun. I mean,
Yeah.
for a
She did her
rookie,
job.
she did her job. Pero again, this is a different level. So they still need to develop that connection. Lalo na paminsan hindi pa sila nagtatagpo ni Kyle. So that is also going to be important for Creamline. Now let's talk about the Cignal HD Spikers. They were in the top of their pool. They fumbled against Chery Tiggo. And in that semis matchup, we were expecting Cignal to really go all out. A lot of people were cheering for them to go all the way to the finals, but Chery Tiggo played so well. Jamie, what happened to Cignal HD?
Yeah, what is this a matchup thing? Ano ba ang
Well,
kontrapelo thing? Ano ba yan?
Unfortunately, with all these one-game eliminations, your win-loss record, it unfortunately does not matter when it comes to these knockout games. With Cignal, when you look at Jelka Yuna's sets, the sets are there. It's not that in terms of attacking, because you have Erica Santos there, right? I think for me in that game, Jelka Yuna could have maximized the middle blockers a bit more. They really showed up in the All-Filipino Conference, Doria and also Jackie Acuna. They're very explosive in that specific, the short running attack. Maybe the receive could have been better. Maybe Jelka Yuna wanted a specific dig to actually set the ball to them. But it came to that finishing stretch, that last kick where they couldn't just get that side out right away.
The only team that they couldn't beat, and it's a very interesting contrapelo moment for the Cignal HD Spikers, who obviously are missing Dawn and Van
Vanny,
Gander,
Vanny.
obviously her offense, and then Dawn's defense. All right, now, brand new matchup, which basically can be a finals matchup, has been a finals matchup before. Cignal Creamline. Okay, tell me your thoughts, Ayel.
It's gonna be an interesting matchup because Creamline still has that reputation that they are a team to beat. So Cignal is coming into that game very motivated to win against Creamline because PLDT won against Creamline. So and then other teams won against Creamline in this conference as well. So that showed the vulnerability of Creamline. So they are not as sharp as they look like in the other conferences, that's for sure. But also, it will take a lot for Cignal to beat Creamline because Creamline, despite some of the key players not on the lineup, they have that familiarity with the system already. But Creamline is playing against Cignal, who has a lot of new players. Yes, Erica Santos is that one great player, best in spiking so far, best scorer so far, but obviously they can't fully rely on her when you're playing against a Creamline team who is full of attackers. So other players also need to step up, talking about Lalong Isip, Tin Tiamzon, who is new to the system, Acuna and Doria that Jamie mentioned, because Acuna and Doria are two players who has been with Jel
Yes,
Cayuna. So
yes.
Jel Cayuna has to utilize that chemistry as well.
Entering the bronze medal match, maghaharap yung number 1 setter and number 2 setter of the
Oh,
league. And that
that's
will be
right.
one of our premier matchups for sure. Jamie, your thoughts on the Kyle Negrito versus Jel Cayuna showdown on Sunday?
Two best
That's gonna
setters,
be a
diba?
good one.
Multiple
Yeah.
best setter awardees.
Both talented, but they both, of course, have different setting styles. It will just boil down to the setter that also looks at the defensive pattern on the other side. You can't just constantly feed your spiker open because it's easy. You have to look at the blockers if they're late on the other side, activate the middle blockers like we talked about, and not be too predictable. It's easier said than done because it's all situational. It depends on the dig. It depends on the receive, exactly where they're placed. Because sometimes coaches have a certain play depending on where the receive is coming from. So those are the things, and those are the factors that will come into play on Sunday.
And of course, this format adds excitement
We
because
love it.
you really can't tell. I mean, you can say that in basketball and all the other sports. When it's down to one game, there's no
Yep.
taking it easy from the start.
I
Ayel.
mean, like what you said, you can't wake up on the wrong side of the bed and
yun
just
pa,
that
no?
one day. Because bad days really happen for athletes.
Yeah,
so no room for bad days for both of the teams. You have to wake up ready. You have to wake up ready, prepared, and execute right away. No room for a lot of errors for both of the teams.
There's no room for a game 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
wala.
Neil, Creamline, no matter what you say, they want to win. They wanted to win the last game. They want to win this next game. They want to get out of this PVL on tour, at the very least, with a bronze medal or a podium finish. All right. Okay, so the teams that beat them are in the finals, and we'll talk about them right here on Starting Lineup. All right, welcome back to Starting Lineup. We get to the finals, which is the same format, knockout, win or go home. Great opportunity for Neil, for both PLDT looking for their first and an unblemished record, Ayel and Jamie, and an incredible opportunity for Chery to follow up on a long-awaited title that the first pro title was won when you guys were still
Oh my
playing.
gosh.
Right?
Feels like a long time ago.
Ages ago.
So let's start with the unblemished team first. We can give them their flowers, obviously, but they've won without Savvy.
Yes.
And then they add Savvy. at the right time too. And she
At
looked
the
like
right
she
time.
never left. Parang gumaling pa nga lalo. Ayan, you get first dibs.
Well, for PLDT, I think Coach Ral, during the post-game interview in that semifinals match, was able to encapsulate this conference. Kompleto sila this conference.
Healthy.
That's something that we've even talked about off-air, that it could have been a game PLDT would won if they have all the complete pieces. Kiana D is healthy, not just healthy, but looking more confident compared to when she started playing. Kim Fajardo has been setting well. Jovi Prado, I feel like she's one underrated outside hitter, very efficient. She's able to play better right now. You have Majoy and Mika coming off injuries before also. So these are the starters of PLDT players. They've waited to be completed and to play together. And as you mentioned, add Savi Davison into the mix, then they have a very strong core lineup. And I think that's the biggest reason why they were able to sweep the preliminary round and the tournament so far.
Pero wala na yan. Wala na yung preliminary round, wala na yung semis.
Yeah, we can already see the future for PLDT.
Yes.
They're a very dangerous team. You have Del Palomata coming in the next conference.
I mean, Kat
Aliyah
Arado
Malaluan
also.
pa,
Oh, yeah,
Kat Arado pa. But Jamie, I feel like, I don't know if you'll agree with me, I feel like Keisha Bedonia
Yes.
will actually be one of their keys to the championship.
You know,
she
the-
didn't get to play in
Yes.
the semis matchup, but throughout the preliminaries, she was one
Yes.
of the top scorers of PLDT.
Actually, their first game was against Farm Fresh, and this is when Savi was still not there. So it was Prado and Keisha Bedonia. I think she was actually player of the game that game. She will be key, especially if, let's say, one open spiker's not doing their job. She has to step up because she was the one playing when Savi wasn't there. So everyone, the bench, they need to stay ready because we never really know what will happen.
But they've done this before. They've looked really good, and then they face, like, say, a team like Creamline. They don't get over the hump. They did this time,
Yes.
Ayel. How big is that for them going into the finals?
That's very big because that seems to be a ghost hunting them for quite some time. Sabi
good
nga ni Kat Arada in that post-game interview also na parang they were able to get through that hump of the semi-finals curse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kasi andun na lagi. Ang
Akari was
lapit
the last
na,
one,
yeah.
tama, no?
Pero they can't seem to
Yeah.
get over that. So finally, it's also a mental relief for them na
Yeah.
finally ito na, kaya natin. And we always emphasize how important the mentality is also during the game. So just like what Neil mentioned earlier, it could be a start of good things for
At
PLDT.
Creamline pa yung natalo nila na,
Yes.
has no reputation of, we're gonna take it easy
Yeah.
today. They just don't do that.
They just need to keep their antennas up for sure kasi I'm sure hindi rin magpapatalo.
One game!
ang Chery
No
Tiggo.
choice.
game!
No choice.
So it's time to talk about the challengers in the Chery
Oh my
Tiggo
goodness.
crossovers. They had an okay record in the
Yes.
preliminaries, 3-2 as well. But again, in the semis, talagang
Hot.
ang ganda ng
Hot.
defense pattern. You talked about their patterns and I feel like that was their key to victory in
Yes.
that semis matchup against Cignal HD.
Ang ganda ng gising nila.
That also.
Jamie.
You know, just the consistency because when you look at the players, when you look at the lineup in Chery, it's a mix of veterans and young guns. You have Ara Galang, who's playing wonderfully. And I have to give credit to Amy Hernandez. This is her first time back in in a very long time since her ACL. She provides a lot of stability. When you look at the stats, she scores maybe 9 to 12 points in every game. And for a middle blocker to have that for
Right.
every game, that's unheard of because usually a middle blocker would tally 6 to 7. And also Cés Robles. We all know what she did in the UAP, providing a lot of stability. And of course, Karen Verdeflor. The defense is there, the receive is there, and they're all in sync. And I consider Chery to be a moody team. So when they're hot, they're hot. So hopefully on Sunday, they're hot. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Karen obviously was player of the game in a previous match prior to the semifinals. Princess Robles, by the way, has been dealing with some knee issues before this PVL on tour. So that's why she's looking healthy also. But the biggest weapon, Ayel, and like Neil say, you don't have to agree with me, but I want your point on this. The biggest weapon, I feel like they have nothing to lose here.
They don't have
Exactly.
nothing. Yeah.
Nobody expected them to, beat all of these teams. I'm sure if you ask them, they always believed that they could beat anybody, but to be in the finals and now one game away from a championship again, this is a great, kumbaga, house money
Yep,
for them.
that's
no?
right. I mean, that's also interesting because for me, Chery Tiggo just really played steady this preseason. Not as sharp as PLDT, but they won games that they had to win, especially
That
the
mattered.
semifinals. But then it becomes interesting also because, like what you said, no pressure on them.
Yeah.
They will put pressure on PLDT, and we've seen PLDT crumble
Yes.
under pressure.
Good point.
So that's something that PLDT has to be very mindful about. Coming into the game, knowing that there's going to be pressure and how they handle it, because Chery Tiggo definitely will just play their game, and with how they have been performing the entire preseason, they have a good chance to win the championship.
They've gotten over the semifinals
Yeah.
hump. Yung finals naman ngayon.
Yeah. Actually, nakapanibago yung final teams natin, but they really deserve it. Pero ang pinakamasaya talaga are the Lasal fans. To be honest, ang Lasal fans, ang pinakamasaya. Just imagine,
That's why Jim
Ara
was
Galang,
angry.
Abby Maraño against the Lasal players in KKD, Majoy Baron, Mika Reyes of PLDT.
Nabuhay ang F2.
Nabuhay.
Nabuhay ang F2.
So what do you think about the premier matchup, Ara Galang versus KKD?
We just love it. I mean, of course, different. They're both opposites, of course, different styles of play. But I think with both of them, at the end of the day, knockout game, you're gonna give your best. Of course, the pressure is also on PLDT because they have a perfect record, and I don't really think they look at that necessarily. Oh, we have a perfect record. It also boils down to the last game. And one of the interviews, Catherado said they're way better at just managing their emotions now. And
Even Savvy said that in post.
I think it was actually Savvy.
Right? Yeah.
And I think all that heartache created some strong bond.
They had to go through it.
They had to go through it, and it changed them for the better. And that's what we are seeing in the game. Hopefully, that is also what they can show on Sunday.
Huwag natin kalimutan, may Abby Maraño pa yan.
Oh, yes, the running attack.
Siguradong, di ba, will give them the
Majoy
finger.
The finger,
Yeah, so
something.
there's so many things to look forward to, and it's a refreshing change also for PVL. I'm sure Creamline and Cignal don't like the refreshing change, but it is what it is now. So we will say good luck to both teams. It's a red finals on Sunday between Chery Tiggo and of course PLDT. Thank you, Ayel. Thank you, Jamie. All right, we're also excited to share the awesome news that Cignal Fame Swap has been honored with the 2025 Stevie Gold Award for Communication of the Year Sport at the Asia Pacific Stevie Awards. Yeah, this prestigious recognition celebrates excellence in innovation, creativity, and achievement across the region. Congratulations, Cignal DDB and the whole team behind this amazing feat.
Well, tayo, alam ko, we can't wait. I know the fans cannot wait for the PVL Sunday special. So make sure to catch the battle for bronze and finals of the PVL On Tour this Sunday on One Sports and Pilipinas Live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Neil Flores.
I will all be there. I'm Boom Gonzalez. This has been Starting Lineup.